Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the I Hate Insurance podcast. Say goodbye to fake coverage full of exclusions, gaps, and fine print. We hate insurance too, and we're doing our best to get you the partnership you need.
So this week's topic is risk management, which is people go to school for it. It's a strategy. My opinion is the strategy is deployed in a way that isn't helpful. The way insurance policies are sold or bifurcated. A policy or 10 policies, people go read the policy and there's no execution of the overall goal. And so risk management, like putting cameras in your car to aggressively defend a claim that's frivolous against you and then settling it anyway, is a waste of your money. That was a risk management cost and strategy that you didn't execute on. What we do is we build a partnership that covers real risk management, the real coverage you need. We're not trying to throw anybody else under the bus. That's an old-fashioned, outdated strategy. We're trying to create partnerships where we get better results, better performance for the insured. And at the end of the day, we can prove that because we don't cancel people when what can happen does happen. When you buy fake, old-fashioned policies or risk management, and every time you use it, it cancels or fails you, that's proof that that's a bad strategy. So Prime and X Insurance have a proven strategy that works through a partnership, which includes risk management techniques.
On the episode, we're going to go over the basics of risk management. What is risk management and why is it so important? If you are someone doing everything you can to manage your risk, do you have an insurance company that understands the risk and would have your back?
Well, and by having your back, you mean actually execute.
Right.
Right. So in the trucking world, people have claims and they don't have the records and, they're in a bad spot. So insurers underwrite them based on what have you done. So a lot of them hire an outside risk manager to, keep their documentation, put cameras in their vehicles, do all the stuff that they should have done to be able to defend the last claim. Okay. So if you do all that, let's say you put cameras in your cars, your trucks, and then somebody runs into you and their leg's amputated, you're not at fault, and you pay that anyway, that's an execution error. Why did you spend all the money to fight a claim that when it's not your fault, you pay it anyway? That's really the fundamental problem with liability insurance and the way that the legal system makes it painful, like a divorce. It's very expensive, and it's always easier to just ultimately resolve the case. Now, obviously lawyers and everybody's different, right? It's all like an art. That's why I don't like outsourcing, right? As an insurance company, as an underwriter agent before, you would see outsourced risk management, outsourced expert witnesses. Our best experts are our insureds, like in the avalanche business, right? They know as much as anybody in the world. They're at the top of their game. So we don't need to be paying some outside expert as a consultant like most insurers do when they set up a program. Basically, risk management is taught, and if you look at Home Depot or any big corporations, power companies, where they hire firefighters or control people, they make them carry insurance. And, it's not a limit that the small contractor would need. It's a limit that the power company or Home Depot wants for their protection.
Like layering.
Well, they're shoving it down. They're shoving the shit down to you. And, that's my shirts that say I don't compete with stupid. That's common sense in any business. If you go into Home Depot and you can write, you can plow all of their parking lots where they have snow, which we write a lot of snow plowing because it's a problem. People slip and fall. They throw the little plower under the bus and send him all the claims. And eventually they get worn out and they can't do it anymore.
They hire a new plow company.
who has to buy a $5 million limit and is way too much for the small company. So, when we write them, we underwrite them with the idea of, let's partner, right? If you have some outside guy, great, right? He'll help us document. But to be a good partner, we both have to do our job and not let the risk manager we hire tell us to settle some bullshit claim, or the lawyer tell us to settle some bullshit claim. So, when we insure snow plowing, we underwrite them and we say, send us the contracts you're signing. And then we help them negotiate, right? Because when are you going to plow?
And
Half inch of snow? Are you going to salt if it gets below 32 degrees? Because all of that has to be in the contract if you're going to be responsible for the slip and falls. Or they let you be out of the responsibility of the slip and falls. They don't put that in the contract. But you actually have to have an insurance company that works with you. You hiring an outside lawyer to negotiate with them without an insurance partner is a waste of time and money. And that's what goes on with insurance is everything's bifurcated. And the old strategy is throw somebody else under the bus. Let's do it this way. And that means litigation is going to grow on all this stuff. Our approach is we do it all in one policy. We're going to do the whole job, right? We're going to cover assault and battery, sexual abuse and molestation, liquor legal, security. We're not going to say, well, hire outside security and we'll insure your bar so that, when somebody gets beat up at your bar, we can throw the security guard company under the bus. Because you can throw them under the bus, but you're going under the bus with them. Your situation doesn't get improved because you threw somebody else under the bus using an old-fashioned risk management approach.
So
execution.
Let's back up a little.
Yeah.
We're all familiar with what risk management is.
Yeah.
But for someone new to the insurance world, what do we mean when we say risk management?
Well, there's degrees in risk management at colleges. That's where, Tommy and our people, we go to the schools of risk management at Georgia, and there's other schools around the country. There's a couple in Illinois, up north on the East Coast. We hire people who have a risk management degree, and they teach, how, from your perspective, you manage risk by making other people the targets, right? Slip and falls, let's hire a snowplow company, make them carry a $5 million limit. Back in the day before mountain bikes were allowed at the ski resorts, every year I would get a call from somebody says, hey, I can rent bikes at Snowbird if I can get a $5 million limit of insurance. And I'm like, yeah, I bet you can. Because if it was a good idea, Snowbird would do it as part of their recreational program.
Right. Not outsource it out.
Yeah, and make you carry a high limit so you're the target. So that's a red flag to me that you're in a short-term partnership. All of this stuff in the legal system takes a long time. And your risk management techniques are like starting a football team in the beginning of a series or a season and executing throughout the whole season and winning the Super Bowl. You have to have a focus and a partnership that survives a bad loss. If you have a big claim, you don't cancel people and throw them under the bus. You basically learn from that mistake and move forward, like adding cameras, keeping better documentation, improving your contract with your people. You get a little bit better every day in your partnership approach. That is the new risk management. The old risk management that everybody deploys is throw the other guy under the bus.
And that goes right into our next point, old school traditional risk management versus new partnership approach risk management, which we would say is us.
Yeah.
Our partnership approach, right? Trying to do everything we can to manage the risk so that we have the best defense when and if something happens.
Well, I think it starts with at one point when we wrote coverage with Homestead Insurance Company, the lawyer to me, we had a quadriplegic case that wasn't our fault. We did everything right, saved the kid's life. And the plaintiff's lawyer said to me in a settlement conference, he said, you should have let him die. It would have been cheaper. And I'm like, do you know how disgusting that sounds? because these guys take rafting seriously. They had the best, most trained people, and they executed perfectly to save this kid's life. And they told him not to dive in multiple times on multiple days. You know, he was a lifeguard himself, which when you're a lifeguard, American Red Cross trained, you're taught not to dive into water. That's one of the things that you share with people. So anyway, we had a great case, but, you know, again, the insurance company wanted to settle it. And, you know, the lawyers are playing all their bully tactics, just like the playground. And when bullies say shit like that to you, you need to say, dude, that's really disgusting that, you know, you play those cards to just get what you can when this guy isn't responsible. This guy did everything right. The participant announced he was going to do something he had been told multiple times not to do. He did it, and unfortunately, he was a quadriplegic, but that's not our fault. So, you know, we fought that and won. You know, so again, you can win in the legal system, right? 98% of all cases being settled is disgusting. That means that you're just kind of going with accepting that this is, you know, the way life is. And that's why a lot of people form captives, because they think it's going to give them the control that they need, but it doesn't give you the control, because a captive doesn't give you any control. You still have to have an insurance company. You still have to have reinsurance. You still have to have lawyers, and you end up hiring the same people to execute. So risk management is only valuable if you execute and it gets better. If you spend money on risk management or do things that it doesn't get better, you're wasting your money, and it's on the execution. It's doing everything together all at once.
Well, and that's why it's important to have an insurance carrier that understands your risk and everything you're doing to manage it.
Well, and that's what, in the quad case, the point I was going to make was the lawyer said to me, we're not in the rafting business. You know, and it's like insurers are just looking for stuff to do, and then when it gets tough, they think we're not in this business, and they leave. Now it's homeowners in California because of wildfire. You know, when you do rafting or you insure homeowners, you should think like a homeowner. You should think like, we're going to provide a product that's going to work, because if I bought this, I want it to work. And, you know, it's sad to me that in Florida, insurance agents and brokers have been making money for 50 years selling homeowners that fails every time. There's never been a storm where the insurance market wasn't a catastrophe. And then we all look to the government, which is us. That's not risk management, right? Risk management means you do things that don't make you look to the government. You buy proper insurance, you structure it right. The regulators making sure insurers offer them everything they need, right? Now, if you say, I don't want flood, okay, you can exclude it and your price is going to go down. But as an underwriter, as a regulator, I should be concerned that you can actually pay your portion of the claim. Because if you can't, then the system fails again. So risk management has to be part of an overall partnership or plan with partners that all have skin in the game. So buyers of insurance in Florida, you know, going back to the same agents and brokers and paying more money for the same strategy is stupid, right? You ought to be looking for a new strategy, right? A new technique that does the whole job. And we're leading the way in providing all-in-one insurance where everything's included. You know, same as with a bar or restaurant. If I'll insure your bar or restaurant, but I don't want the liquor, and I make you go buy a separate policy, that's an old-fashioned risk management technique. That means I'm going to make money writing bars and restaurants, and I don't have to deal with the liquor. But that doesn't work anymore, because the liquor and the liability policy both get tagged, and it's a bigger nightmare. So if you own a bar or restaurant and they won't give you liquor, salt and battery, security coverage, everything you need, that's a red flag. You're headed for trouble.
It's just like homeowners that excludes flood and mudslide and winds. It's just going to be a big argument when something happens. You mentioned it a little bit before, how we have an in-house risk management department. How does that benefit not only the insured, but also the agents and brokers that we work with?
Well, I mean, everything we do makes everybody's expectations clear, and there's no secret about what a claim looks like. I can tell you how a claim's going to perform. We can do a mock claim. So, again, having in-house risk management, having the in-house claims, the in-house underwriting, it's all like a soup. You prepare it all together and it executes throughout the partnership. It's something that, again, most insurers, when they look at release forms, when I used to be an agent, and we would get sued, and your release form wouldn't have the wording in it that we need. And I would say to the insurance companies, why don't we give them the wording? Just like I talked about earlier with the Home Depot contract.
And that's
why
what we
don't
do
we
now.
help them do that?
Yeah.
And they said, we can't do that because if it doesn't work, we're liable. So they have to go to an outside lawyer and hire him, which nobody does. Very few people do. Some do. Majority of businesses go to their competitor and they look at their release form on the river trip or carpet cleaning or whatever business they're in, and they steal it and they put their name in there. And that's how stupid this is. So as the risk taker years ago, it was like, this is stupid. We get no benefit from sending them to a lawyer and making them spend more money because we're never going to get the agreement we know we need. So we should take the hit if there is more liability to us to give them the proper form they need for no charge because we know what they need. The lawyers they go talk to, in most cases, don't believe release forms or contracts are good anyway. That's what they'll look at it, oh, that's no good. We base everything on, no, contracts are good and we know how to execute. And so, overall, our partnership approach is for our reputation and our partner's reputation. We report all claims and we're transparent about everything. We're partners. And if you're wrong, we're going to go pay the claim, just like Disneyland did when the kid got eaten by an alligator. Bob Iger went to the house, paid him $25 million, no lawyers, no nothing. So that's the way you do it. And JT and I did that on a rafting death case in Georgia long ago, which when JT's on the show, we'll talk about that and have him tell his story. But again, the insurance company has the power. When I was young and my dad had a MGA next to USF&G, USF&G was a big time insurance company and they did it all in-house. In the old days, Travelers, CNA, all these companies had in-house lawyers that did all the litigation. And then it went to outsourcing and then it went back in. Now it's all pretty much outsourced litigation. And so we're opposite. We have a lot of in-house lawyers and we do the majority of the work on all of our claims because that's more efficient and it doesn't feed the legal system. Good partnerships manage the goals like a football team. You manage the process and you get to a win because you're all doing your job and you're executing and you trust each other. And so hopefully in the future, we'll have some guys on. Joe Royer of Ruby Mountain Heliski. I've known him since 1985 when I insured every helicopter ski guy in the country and they couldn't get coverage. Then every avalanche he's involved in, right? Even if it's not his, he's calling me and we're talking about it and we're part of the industry. And we can do that in trucking and, nursing homes and every industry as we have for the last 30 years. So risk management is a label, right? That if you look at underwriting, pricing, premium, deductible, all of these terms that are confusing, let's make it real simple. Let's have a partnership, not a policy where you don't know what the fine print and the exclusions are. So everything we do benefits the agents and brokers because they have a stable market. They're doing their fiduciary job for their client, giving them the best outcomes, which is what you want from claims, and we eliminate their errors and omissions exposure because we're not trying to be tricky. When an insurance agent or broker isn't letting the underwriting company and the claims approach have a partnership approach when you write the policy, which in most cases, underwriters don't want to talk to the insured. They don't want to form a partnership. They just want to quote what they want to quote. And, it's cans of corn. So if you have 5 trucks, they'll write you. If you have 6 trucks, they don't want you anymore. What? That's the stupidest stuff I've ever heard. But that's the way the insurance business is. It's cans of corn. It's supposed to be all the same, right? We write carpet cleaners, but if they do any yard work, we can't do it. We write gardeners, but if they do snow plowing, we don't do it. So you end up having to buy specific policies for certain things. Again, I've already said that's a red flag. That means you got crappy insurance partners and a crappy policy. And they're telling you, you need to go get this separately. And that's a bad strategy. That feeds litigation. So risk management is part of a partnership. It really means nothing if you spend a lot of money on risk management and the partnership fails on the execution side of it.
Yeah, it all falls apart. So you guys are in the market for a partnership, want true coverage. If you're an agent or broker or an insured out there, let us know. And
so I'm going to give a shout out to Philip at Waft,
where our families train.
Right. So he is one of our, I'd call him a special agent. This is one of his flashlights where he trains people to be situationally aware and defend themselves and their family in the modern day world. And this flashlight is a weapon. He uses it to introduce people to, firearm or other types of protection, because it's not scary. It's, again, if somebody's attacking you, you want to be able to defend yourself. You don't want to be a sitting duck. So
I haven't been there, but he's told me how to use it. And you have to basically be situationally aware, right?
Right. But we have a partnership with him. We write all of his insurance. He's got an all-in-one policy, got a shooting range there. They do tactical training, situational awareness in a coffee house and all kinds of really cool stuff. I thought it was kind of kooky when I first went there with Dale and Jeff, but it was really educational, really professional, kids, wives. So anyway, we give these flashlights away to people that we do partnership summits with Philip. And so if you're interested in, your family going, or maybe some of your workers going, I send employees there. He comes to us sometimes. And obviously going to his place is better. He's got shooting range and all kinds of stuff, but he actually benefits from our partnership. The coverage and policies he had before were, I think he had 15 different property policies, different liability policies, homeowners excluded business, and he lives there. So again, a customized fit. And then we support him by training teachers in Florida. We've had legislators there, and we give them a flashlight. So if you know somebody that could benefit from going to one of his courses, you can email me at rjl@xinsurance.com.
And he's just right outside Orlando. So if you and your family are at Disney World and have an extra day, go check him out. But we'll see you on the next podcast. Email or call us if you have any questions or want us to talk about anything specifically. We'll see you later, guys.